So I can't see a scenario where my business model exists in 10 to 15 years from now. See, I used to be a car dealer that sold cars for under $2,500. Then I had to go up to being the car dealer that sold cars for under $3,500. But today, as it stands, I'm a used car dealer that sells cars that are $5,000 and under. And what that means is I sell older cars that typically have higher mileage. And what I worry about is the cars being produced now, the cars that were produced 5-10 years ago, aren't going to make it that long. And the problem is, with all of this build quality going down over the years, the amount of available inventory that I'm actually able to buy when I go to these used car dealer auctions is going down and down and down. I can give you one clear example of this, and it's in a Nissan Altima. And I've actually got a Nissan Altima on my lot right here. We're selling it for $3,000, and I know a lot of you would scoff at this. And I know what you're saying, Brandon, why would you buy a Nissan Altima with that trashy CVT transmission? And they've earned that reputation for a good reason, right? Those transmissions just didn't last. So much so that after a certain year, I just stopped buying Nissan Altimas altogether. And here's what a lot of you might also not know. Not the fact that the CVT transmission is also incorrect. It's actually a continuously variable transmission. So that's like saying continuously variable transmission. A lot of people get that wrong. Just want to call that out. I did say it wrong earlier, but that's just to mock you. But what a lot of you also don't know is that they didn't start putting the CVTs in those Nissan Altimas until 2007. And I can tell you that I have bought hundreds of 2002 to 2006 Nissan Altimas with a 4-cylinder engine that were just great. I actually built my business on a lot of these Nissan Altimas, buying and selling them, because they were actually really good cars. And then 2007 with Nissan, everything changed with the Altima. As soon as they started putting those CVTs in those things, they all went to garbage. And this is one easy example of vehicles just being pulled out of the market because the manufacturing was absolute garbage. All the 2002 to 2006 Altimas, all well and good. We can still buy those. I got one sitting on my lot over there right now, like I just showed you. But the thing about it is, once they got to 2007, I'm now hands off, because those CVTs, many of them, I won't say all, because there's going to be a comment down there saying, well, I got one that's 2008, it's got 250,000 miles on it. That is the rare case. Most cases, those CVTs didn't last over 140, over 150,000 miles. And when I see one going through the auction, I don't even look at it. And there are countless other makes and models that, as the years gone on and the quality went down, and as they added new things, new features, new screens, new junk into a lot of these new vehicles, well, they have become untouchable for me as a used car dealer. I have to buy stuff that I don't have to put a lot of work into to be able to sell it to my customer, to keep it cheap enough to be able to sell a vehicle for $5,000 and under. And a lot of these new vehicles, they come with so many issues that I would rather have the older model of them than the newer one. I would pay more for a 2006 Nissan Altima with the same miles than I would a 2010 Nissan Altima. That's how bad it is in that one particular model. In all of these makes, all of these models, it seems like quality keeps going down and down and down. And as it keeps going down and down and down, my way of life is not going to exist, because a lot of these cars are made to be so disposable that they're not going to make it to my lot. They're not going to make it to where I can buy them cheap enough where I don't have to put any fixes in them, and then be able to sell them for $5,000 and under. They're not even going to make it past 150,000 miles. And if that's the case, I'm not going to be able to buy them for my customer. Another problem that I'm running into right now, and it's only going to get worse as my prices have to get higher, as just the price of used cars and everything else gets more expensive, is that right now my customers are struggling to even afford a $3,500, a $4,000 car that I have sitting on my lot. Our number one question that we get right now is, do you finance? And that's even on cars that we're selling for $2,500. So imagine what's going to be like the difficulty that I run into if we have to jump up to the next tier of cars whenever these $5,000 and under cars don't exist anymore. Say we go up to $7,500 and under. Say 10 years from now, maybe it's $10,000 and under, like we've had to continuously go over the years. It's already so difficult for people to just scrounge up, is that the right, scratch up, $3,500 to pay cash for one of my vehicles and not go in debt for it. But if I want to be a dealer that doesn't finance, and I will never finance. I don't like debt myself. I don't have consumer debt. I haven't had a car payment in over, 15, 16, 17 years, something like that. I do not like it. I will not put my customer in a position where they can just easily finance a car from me. I'm not going to be a buy here, pay here lot. I don't have the heart to go repo a car if someone can't make their payments. So if I'm not going to take that route, and it gets to be a situation where no one is able to buy a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 car with cash anymore, because everything's just going up so much, and the separation between the haves and the have-nots, the separation between people who have money and can't get the money, the living paycheck to paycheck, they can't come up with the money. If that separation continues to get wider, then a business like me, a business like what I'm doing, a cash car business for cars that are $5,000, have to go up $6,000, $7,000, it doesn't matter how good of a heart I have. It doesn't matter how honest I am. It doesn't matter how cheap my prices are. If people literally don't have the cash to buy the cars, I can't do this. And then when people don't have the cash, well, what typically happens in markets? Well, markets find a way. There'll be some kind of mechanism that comes into the market that actually helps these consumers. I say help, these consumers get into cars. It'll be very bad for the consumer, and put it that way. It'll be very good for the corporation who comes up with this methodology to be able to actually purchase a car, or rent a car, or some kind of creative leasing, or, driverless cars. We've been talking about that here a lot lately. Whatever the mechanism to fix the problem of people not being able to afford a car anymore, there will be something that's created. And when that's created, it's probably not going to have small used car dealers included in that. You think if you have a corporation that starts renting cars, short-term rentals for 2 and 3 year old cars, they just buy a whole bunch of them. They're able to rent them out to customers, and then when they're done with them, they'll turn them in. That's a scenario that could potentially happen. We have we already have leases for new cars, right? But that system right now is very skewed and very, very distorted, because you have new car franchise dealers that are involved with this. And when dealers are involved with these kind of mechanisms, they get slimy, they get shady, there's extra money that's added on, interest rates aren't where they really should be, there's packs on top of it, there's add-ons, there's things that don't need to be paid. There's another situation where another company that's better than what these franchise dealers are doing can come in and have some renting or leasing program that would probably be much better than what the situation is right now. But either way, it's still going to be worse for a consumer than going and being able to buy a car, a used car outright with their own money. But they don't have the money, they don't have the option, right? And it might be the situation that 10 years, 15 years from now, people who aren't well off, they just don't own cars. What's the situation in housing right now? Well, people don't have the money to put 20% down. They only have the money to put 5% down, so they can't get a home loan. It seems so unobtainable for the generations that are coming up right now to even, the dream of being a homeowner is not even realistic. They're not even thinking about it anymore. So what do? Well, they just rent. And it might be that becomes the situation in the car market. Talked about renting, talked about leasing earlier. Or it might be that, okay, well, I'm just not going to own a car, and when I need one, when I need to make a trip to the grocery store, when I need to make a trip or go to work every single day, I'm just going to live close to where I work. Or the other situation is a lot of these driverless cars that are going to be a massive thing. Don't kid yourself. I know there's a lot of people that are watching this video hate the idea of a bunch of robot cars driving around. 10 years from now, you know it's going to be a massive thing, and there's going to be a situation where you can type in on your phone and say, I want to go from my house to work, and I need to be there at this time, you need to pick me up at this time, and the car without the driver is just going to show up. This is going to be a thing that happens. We know it's coming. We already see it happening in other places in this country. I'm in a smaller city in the U.S., so it's not where I am here, but I can already see the writing on the wall. And it might be the situation that people that can't afford a used car, or they might not even want to have a used car. What comes along with a used car? You have maintenance. You have to go to the mechanic every 3 to 4 to 6 months to get your oil changed, and then they're going to try to upsell you. It's a pain in the butt to own a used vehicle. I absolutely know that, and there could be a lot of people that just say, you know what? I would rather just pay per trip. And that option, 10 years from now, that option is going to be available to them. And I know what you're saying. Right now, that option's already available, right? Well, we have Uber, we have Lyft. But you have people involved in that, and people cost money, and you have to pay drivers and the problems with that come along with the cars that are associated with the price of each Uber, each Lyft. But when you take the actual people out of there, it's just these robot cars riding around. Well, it can get a lot cheaper. So when that happens, it can go into the realm of where it's actually affordable for people to take a driverless car. And whether you like it or not, whether you're scared of it or not, there's going to be a lot of people out there be like, okay, well, it's going to cost me $13, $15 to get from here to work. And it's going to cost me how much to own a car on a monthly basis? I think I'll just pay per ride, right? And then we have this outlier little thing that I'm worried about. And that's people just continually, they're getting more lazy. I know you know it, you see it. You go, I mean, anywhere. If it's easier to click a button and have whatever you want delivered, DoorDash is an easy example, people will pay more to have that. And this is why the rise of companies like Carvana have been able to have a model that's been successful. Throw out however Carvana's run his business, we're not going to get into all that, but you can't argue that the system that Carvana has set up, the way that they sell cars, has absolutely been successful with a lot of people, especially a lot of people that have become more and more lazy and want to click a button and have something show up. So if you have a company like Carvana and you have other companies pump up, that Carvana's shown some success, there will be other companies that follow in a similar type of a model, where if people don't even want to go shopping for a car and then they just want to have it delivered straight to their doorstep, well, that's not something that a small used car dealer like me is going to be able to compete with, because those customers aren't shopping for price. They don't care about the price. They want the ease, right? I'm not selling ease here on my car dealership. I'm selling cheap cars. I'm selling a price point, right? So if I want to exist the way that I exist right now, in the marketing that I choose to engage in right now, where my selling point is not, okay, it's just an easy thing, we're just going to show up at your doorstep. We're selling you a car that's $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 cheaper than you can find it anywhere else. Well, if people don't care about that and they just want to click the button and then get on payments and then do the debt thing and whatever's easy because I'm lazy and I don't want to leave the house, well, that's not an environment I'm going to be able to exist in either.
Sub, since you were a little one-channel dude anyway, what's your opinion on all vehicles that were made from 2020 till now? Eventually, those will get to be your market. Are they all garbage?
So the problem with a lot of these vehicles that have been made in the last 5 years is because we've had this weird thing of this production problem that hit us like during COVID. Like car market's never really seen this before, where we had supposedly no demand that was going to happen, and then all the demand in the world, and these manufacturers had to catch up. So what had to happen? Well, they had to cut corners to get cars out. They didn't have the chips to produce all these vehicles. So there's going to be a lot of cars in 10 years from now, when if I'm still a car dealer, I hate selling cars, so I hope I'm not, but if I'm still a car dealer in 10 years from now and I have to buy these cars, I'm going to have to look for actual functionality of a lot of these vehicles. There are so many vehicles like GM. I remember they had to put notes on their brand new vehicles saying, okay, this car has the buttons and it says it has the functionality of heated seats, but the chips aren't available. So we just put them out without the heated seats. So they literally have the button on the side of the seat for the heated seats or on the dash or whatever it is, but it's not a functioning thing in this actual vehicle because they didn't have the chips. But these manufacturers had to just put the cars out because they couldn't get cars to dealerships. Everyone wants them. Dealerships were empty. And so they cut the corners. And heated seats is an easy example, but the things that I'm more worried about is you got to look at the recalls that have happened over the last 3 or 4 years. And while I don't know that it's a direct correlation with them cutting corners to get vehicles out, it seems to line up pretty well. We have motor issues. Like I've been doing this for 14 years now, buying and selling cars. So I've been looking at the car market and what's going on with manufacturers and for this amount of time. Not crazy a long time, but over those 14 years that I've been doing it, this is in the last 3 or 4 years the most recalls I've ever seen. It's not even close. And usually the recalls that we would deal with or like a seatbelt that's wrong. We got airbags that are wrong. We've got some little sensor that's going on. They've got like a backup camera that's faulty, or a little plastic piece that won't stay shut. No, we got motors imploding on people. Toyota, motors imploding. GM, these 6.2 motors imploding on people in with less than 500 miles. You just haven't seen this a lot throughout the decades in the car market with this many serious issues. It's usually small things. Now it seems like every other headline that I'm seeing, I mean, just go to Google right now and type in recalls. Last time I did this, there was like 7 different recalls in the last 2 weeks across the manufacturers. Absolutely insane. It's getting worse. You have your biggest offenders, Ford, a lot of the American-made trucks, sadly, but Ford, GM, Stellantis, big time problems. It's bad. It's bad. What even the most trusted brands out there for reliability, Toyota. I mean, it's been really bad over the last couple of years, and it seems like things are getting worse as things get more expensive. They have to figure out ways to make margins, and the way they make margins is by cutting corners and make cheaper products that people will still pay a lot of money for. And when that happens, I mean, you put so much stress on these motors. These little 6-cylinder motors now that you pump these turbos on and try to get the same kind of performance, it's going to strain things, and that's things break. I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing a lot of right now. Cutting corners, a lot of garbage, a lot of plastic, a lot of cheap parts being put in a lot of these vehicles, and I worry for the future of just car dealers in general in 10, 15 years from now that have to inherit this stuff. I can tell you already the newer stuff that I have to buy, like the newer end of my spectrum. I sell cars that are $5,000 and under. So for me to get that price point, the newer end of my spectrum only goes up to probably like 2016. There are so many vehicles in that range that are just untouchable. Anything that's Ford, like the Ford Escape, a lot of the Ford Fusions that are up in that area, where they change the transmissions. Ford Explorers, they change these transmissions, and they're garbage. Like, we won't buy them. I would rather have a 2009 Ford Escape with 150,000 miles for the same price that I would have a 2017 Ford Escape with 150,000 miles. Because that 2009 Ford Escape is going to have fewer problems than that 2017 is going to. So I won't even look at those Escapes, but I'll look at the older body style just because I know they changed that transmission, they changed that motor, and the newer ones are absolute garbage. So that's going to be something that's going to continue, and there's just going to be more and more vehicles that are off limits. And I mean, as you get with this newer stuff too, there's more tech. And I think right now my biggest problems that I have to buy cars that I'm going to like instantly throw away or send back to the auction that I'm going to lose money on are motors and transmissions. But what have been added in the recent years that are more commonplace? Well, turbos. Turbos are going to cost about the same amount of money as it is to replace a transmission or a motor. So that's going to be another massive problem for me in the future. Think all these infotainment centers. They might not be as much as a motor transmission, but there's so much going on with them, and you have to have them that when they go bad, and they're going to go bad in 10, 15 years, that's just what's going to happen on these things. I'm going to have to replace those too. And when I do that, I mean, who knows how much that's going to cost? Even if it's $700 or $800, if I'm going to continue to sell cars that are affordable to people and they can still pay cash for them, it's going to greatly limit the amount of cars or the kinds of cars that I'm able to buy, just because of these common issues that are popping up in a bigger way, and just adding in all these extra parts, all these extra electrical systems, all these extra safety things that are being popped up in cars right now. I don't see any world where 20 years from now, I'm a car dealer that sells affordable cars and it's even worth even being in business for, just because of how difficult it's going to be to sift through the garbage that's being put out right now. I don't think I'm gonna have to find another job. I don't know. I've already got a couple other jobs right now. Maybe I'll still be on YouTube whining about the same thing that I'm whining about right now. Maybe I'll just add an extra number to it that's just whining about the quality of car. I don't know. Maybe we'll get into the housing market. What's my next job?
I don't know, maybe a support group for car dealers.
Support group for car dealers that were car dealers 20 years ago. That's what it is. Self-help. I'm gonna do self-help for car dealers.
Ex-car dealers.
Self-help for ex-car dealers. And probably need to help with drinking problems too. The same group.
Maybe some community service.
Yeah.
Would probably be good for you guys.
Same group.
I bet some of you have experience.
Yep.